Welcome. This is D.L. Hughes from VelocityWriting.com, where you learn to write with speed, passion, purpose, and profitability. Ever feel like your words are stuck in traffic, bumper to bumper, refusing to move? What if you could turn on a magical secret lane where words glide effortlessly and your creativity hits top speed? Welcome to what is known as the flow state. It's a beautiful state of mind for writers. Let's unravel the mysteries of the flow state and provide practical steps to achieve and sustain it. Every writer has experienced moments where the words just seem to pour out effortlessly, as if they were merely a conduit for some higher creative force. This magical phenomena is known as the flow state. It's also called being in the groove. When in the flow state, writers experience intense concentration, a seamless writing process, and a sense of timelessness. It's a state where creativity and productivity peak. How does one enter and sustain this elusive state? This is how you can tap into the groove, this very powerful mental zone. Understand the flow state. Most writers have fallen into the flow state by accident. They found it exhilarating but challenging to repeat. We want to repeat it. To do that, we need to understand what it is. Achieving the flow state can significantly enhance the quality and quantity of your writing. Here are the three most significant psychological aspects of the flow state for writers. First, there's deep focus and concentration. One of the hallmark characteristics of the flow state is an intense level of focus. Writers in this state can concentrate deeply on their writing, and it's kind of like a high. No, not a high like weed or booze. It's dopamine. That's the natural brain chemical that helps trigger and sustain flow. It boosts focus, motivation, and pattern recognition. These are all core ingredients for creative immersion. Then there's time distortion. Time seems to pass differently when in a flow state. Writers might work for hours without noticing, which can be beneficial for tackling large writing projects or meeting tight deadlines. There is a byproduct, which is intrinsic motivation and enjoyment. The flow state is rewarding. Writers often find joy and satisfaction in the act of writing. This intrinsic motivation can drive writers to push through challenging sections of their work and sustain writing challenges over the long term. There is a perk in all this. In the flow state, writers often experience a loss of self-consciousness. We become so immersed in our writing that we are no longer preoccupied with self-doubt, fear of criticism, or other self-limiting thoughts. Achieving the flow state. How do you enter the flow state? Well, it would be nice to push a button, but it requires conscious effort to get into the zone. The first hallmark of the flow state is intense concentration. In this state, you'll become fully immersed in your work, blocking all distractions. By the way, let me mention, I wrote an entire book on focus techniques. It's a short book because most people without focus don't have the focus to read a longer book. There's a link to the book in the description. But how do you take command of your thoughts and environment to get into the flow state? Well, one of the important things is to know your peak creative times. Identify the times of day when you are most alert and creative. Some writers find they do their best work early in the morning, while others thrive in the late hours of the night. Schedule writing sessions during these peak times to harness your natural energy and creativity. But there's something you should consider. Natural peak times matter, but you can train yourself to be at a creative peak at any hour. Being at your peak is a state of mind, and having a fresh mind anytime is possible. Have a pre-writing ritual. Create a ritual to get your writing brain in gear. Don't expect to jump from cleaning your toilet or paying your bills into writing your book. Athletes have a warm-up ritual, and writers need one too. You need a ritual to get into the zone in the first place, or to restart when you have been drawn away for some legitimate reason. The goal is to create a consistent and calming routine that prepares your mind for writing. Keep it simple and manageable to ensure you can perform it regularly. Choose activities that resonate with you and make you feel ready to write. For some, it's a quiet cup of coffee, lighting a scented candle, or rearranging your workspace. The more personalized the ritual, the more powerful its impact on your mindset. And then, as always, eliminate distractions. To achieve this level of concentration, creating an environment conducive to focus is crucial. Turn off notifications, have a quiet space, and set clear boundaries with those around you. I've jokingly told my writing clients that the most important tool a writer can have is a door. Just close it and go deep. Author Cal Newport reminds us in his book Deep Work that activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration push cognitive capabilities to the limit. Next, have clear goals for your writing session. Scientist Louis Pasteur said, "Chance favors the prepared mind." Knowing what you want to achieve in a writing session beforehand enables you to maintain creative focus. Break down your writing task into small, manageable parts. Setting a specific goal about what you want to accomplish and having a word count helps. A vague goal like writing chapter 5 really doesn't help. Advanced clarity about what you intend to accomplish during your designated writing session frees you for creative concentration. Don't think ideas will pop into your head. Most of the time, they don't. Practice mindfulness. I always used to think of mindfulness as New Age voodoo. Mindfulness is an overused, non-specific term. It supposedly involves deep breathing and other rituals. But mindfulness is best understood as awareness or consciousness of what you are doing and why. Don't let your mind wander. Pay attention to what you are doing in the moment. As I said, we want to eliminate external distractions, but mindfulness helps us eliminate the internal distractions that our minds create. Once you have entered the immersive flow state, how do you remain in it? Maintaining and restarting flow. Most of us want to stay in the flow state as long as possible. I remember the joy I got in my younger years of being able to work in 24-hour marathons. Alas, those days departed with youth. They weren't healthy anyway. We all do our best work when we eat right, get some exercise, and adequate sleep. But we all have to exit the flow state for various reasons, so we must learn some tips to get quickly back into it. These same principles apply to entering and restarting the flow. Jump right in. Many writers read over their work when they start or restart. Do a little editing and fuss around a bit. Never do that. Jump right in. My trick is to stop writing mid-sentence, and I just pick it up from there in my next writing session. Now, let me emphasize that you must maintain your forward motion to get into the zone. Once you start writing, resist the urge to stop and edit. Editing disrupts the flow. Instead, keep writing even when you know it's not perfect. You can always revise later. The impulse to write and edit simultaneously is a writer's curse. Allow yourself to lose self-consciousness. In the flow state, writers lose awareness of themselves and their surroundings, and that's a good thing. The loss of self-consciousness allows for pure, uninhibited creativity and can lead to some authentic and powerful writing. Take a break if you find yourself jumping out of the groove. Short breaks help maintain and regain flow after interruptions. Find your boundary between positive persistence and being patient with yourself about your writing intensity. When you learn to effortlessly jump right back into the flow state, breaks really don't matter. Go with the flow. Now that you're equipped with the tools and techniques to enter and stay into the flow state, it's time to put them into practice. Set up your writing environment, establish your rituals, and embrace the journey towards effortless creativity. Once you experience the flow state, you'll discover that it's easier to enter it each time. Over time, you sit down and find yourself automatically in bliss mode. Remember, the flow state is within your reach, and you can tap into this powerful mental zone to enhance your writing. Dive in, stay focused, and let the words flow. Have a great writing day.